Right, all right. That's a very powerful song right there that we have just watched. That is, of course, taking us to the next interview. Welcome back if you've just tuned in. This is Good Morning Kenya at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya at Ram Aguko. Tell us what you think about the show and, of course, about the music you've just played and, of course, about the interview that Safin has just done. That is at Safin_Cheng and, of course, at Ray Manyara. It is Entertainment Thursday, and in studio, I'm joined by a powerful panel. Just listening to them talk makes you feel like as though maybe you are not aware about many things that happen in the country. And of course, I would like to introduce them for you. They are from Safari Initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, I think what I'd like to do it differently this time round, right? Okay. Differently this time round. They are co-founders, and of course, on my left is Anthony Elmo. But I would like to start by first of all saying, Safari Initiatives, just as it is, do you see it being a game changer for the country? And of course, I would like you to start also by telling us your name and position. Anthony.
My name is Anthony Alpha Elmore. I'm a 5-time world karate kickboxing champion. I came here in 1990 to promote my movie, The Contemporary Gladiator, in 1990. Wow. And so I am here to promote an event that would benefit Kenya more than a World Cup or Barack Obama becoming president. We have an event that traditionally and culturally is more relevant, more progressive, and more dynamic than all of that, and that is the Safari Initiative. We're here. I'm home.
I tell you, I don't know, these guys have a lot and you'll be inspired by what they have. Already that gives you a glimpse. Ladies and gentlemen, Safari Initiative, thank you very much for coming to studio. It's a very, very big pleasure for me to have all of you. If I would start towards my father's left, of course, starting with your name, I believe that you are a co-founder and, of course, telling us what you say about the Safari Initiatives.
Well, my name is Agri Asava. I reside in Indiana, in the U.S. Tony really is the one that has put in most of this work. Wow. We are just in to help him, catch it so that we can get it to Kenya and push it to the level that we want it to be. And this is the day that we want things to start happening today.
Safari Initiatives. Since, for how long has it been active, or when did you start it in the first place? Start with the name.
Thank you. First of all, my name is Richard Kiptop. I reside in Indiana too, but I'm from the most beautiful county in Kenya.
The most beautiful?
Baringo County.
Okay.
I was inspired by Anthony because, I was interested about doing something positive culturally about Kenya. And I came across Anthony Elmore. So I became so interested. And I looked for his contacts. I called him, we talked, and he shared the vision. And man, I just said, this is what we need in Kenya. Wow. And it's been a long journey, and we thank you guys for giving us this space.
It's an honor having you. Let me come to you.
Yes, my name is Alfaya Gufana. I'm the local coordinator of the Safari Initiative, and I'm very happy that you are hosting us on GMK. And the Safari Initiative is quite important to this country. If we can be able to bring the Black Americans to Kenya and bring them back to their original roots and make sure that the economics are sound, and like what we are doing currently in Kenya, where we are going to the Chinese, and when they come here, they bring everybody, including the drivers. But if, as Anthony will be able to explain in greater detail, we can embrace the Safari Initiative, invite the Black Americans to bring the dollars to Kenya, then we can really turn around the economy.
Wow. You were at Sarah Obama's place.
Absolutely.
I saw your video and I was like, wow, it was you did it in a very insightful way, in a very informative way, yet at the same time, we could have a taste and that feel of the importance of having such kind of a person. How was it, and what is the brainchild behind that kind of idea?
Well, actually, what happened was when I came to Kenya in 1990, I was touched by a spirit. A spirit touched me because I cried tears. See, what Kenyans don't understand is that we who are African Americans, we call ourselves African Americans. We are Africans who live in America. So my ancestors have always told me to come home. So when I came to Kenya in 1990 and I went on safari, I cried tears because I'm home. I am home. And when I went to meet Mama Sarah Obama, the first thing she said was, "You are the child of those Africans they took to America, and I am also your grandmother."
Wow.
So that was the spirit, because she connected me. She understood. And the reason we are here is to let Kenyans know, to let Africans know that we are the children of Africa. Even though I cannot say my father or father's father was born here, but we are no less family to Kenya and Africa than Barack Obama Jr. We are just as much African as he, and we should be given the same honor. See, Kenya honored President Obama with a formal state reception. And the Safari Initiative is our idea. See, it's an acronym. It means Styled African Family Application Renaissance Initiative.
That's the initiative of Safari.
See, Safari was started by a white man, an American white man by the name of Ernest Hemingway. He wrote about Safari. His idea of Safari is a bunch of white people coming out on a luxury tour of Africa. That's Safari. Well, we have reinvented Safari to mean styled. We're going to style this thing to be African family, or the F means family, it means friendship, it means faith, it means finance, it means food. So we're going to take the African culture and we are going to support ourselves. You see, the Safari Initiative deals with trade. We want to come to Kenya and have a trade deal. See, there's an acronym for trade we must understand. That means we're going to transform. We want to reposition African descendants' economics.
So, so do you think that there is a disconnect between, let's say, African Americans and Africans?
Of course, there's a disconnect, but the greatest connection of Africans and African Americans start in Kenya, because it was in 1956 where a 26-year-old Kenyan, but he was not a Kenyan, he was from British East Africa, Tom Mboya, came to America.
Wow. Kenya
is a part of the American Civil Rights Movement because in 1953, an organization in America called ACOA, the American Committee on Africa, invited Tom Mboya to come speak in America. And he was so impressive and he was so genuine. He came on his 26th birthday. And what Tom Mboya said was, if we're going to become a country, we must educate our youth. And every school and college that he spoke to, he asked the presidents, give Kenyans an education, give us a free scholarship. And he asked people, can you donate money to help these students? But in 1959, the great singer Harry Belafonte, out the baseball great Jackie Robinson, and the great actor Sidney Poitier, they lent their names on a letter. And they went to the African American community and they said, give $1, $2, give what you got. Would you help these Africans get an education? And in 1959, 81 Kenyans, they were not Kenyans, 81 Africans came to America for an education. The whole African American community embraced
That
Kenya.
was the beginning of movement from Kenya.
See, what people don't know, in 1959, Tom Mboya not only marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, he spoke at a Dr. Martin Luther King rally. Howard University gave him a doctorate degree. He has a doctorate degree. And all of this in 1959. And I come to ask Kenya to honor the greatest African in the history.
Who is the greatest African in
The
history of Africa?
greatest African to influence America is Tom Mboya. Nobody has influenced America more than Tom Mboya.
Hold that thought. 5 years from now, from the beginning of safari initiatives, now the far we have reached, 5 years from now, are you seeing it being a game changer in the society, especially in this country, Kenya? Let me get it from you.
Yes, because what we are trying to build, we are trying to build a relationship that is going to be transformed into culture and trade. Those are the two main things that are going. Now everybody in Kenya is talking about building bridges. This is the biggest bridge that you ever see, because it's going to bring people from across the Atlantic to come in here and share all the history that we have had and build it into a transformed economic sense that can transform all of us and raise all of us. So it's going to be a big change.
Wow.
You bet you. It's going to be a big, big change.
Now, coming to you now. Safari, are you seeing it as something that is going to ensure that we sell our country to the world in a different way that was not done ever before in history?
You know, it's an opening that we've been waiting for.
What difference are you going to make now?
You know, the difference is this is an area that nobody has really explored, but we have everything. With this relationship, you know, trade, you know, there's that cultural exchange. We can have students from Kenya going to America. We can have students from America coming to Kenya. You know, so there's so many things that will come as a result of this, which we've really been waiting for, and the time is now.
Wow.
Yeah, in 2019, that's next year, it will be 50 years since the passing on of Tom Mboya. We believe that in the process of repositioning the Safari Initiative, we expect that in 2019 we'll bring in a lot of Black Americans coming to visit Kenya, not just to visit, but to celebrate, as we said, the greatest African hero whom Kenyans do not remember as they should. And if you were to bring 3,000 Black Americans here, and they're going to spend the dollar, and not only just spend, because they want to go, and like we are seeing, as I said, with the initiative we have with the Chinese, here we are looking at people who are not coming to take anything from us. There are people who are coming to bring love, to get to their roots, to understand how we live, go back to our home, eat omena, mrenda, and all those kind of things. Yeah, and we create those kind of relationships. And we believe that as the Safari Initiative blossoms, we are going to see more and more in terms of investment. Tony, you can explain even much more. For instance, if you were to look at just the Africans in America, and you look at the economics in terms of the hair industry alone, if you were to Google, they spend over $500 billion. If Kenya could just try and take a bit of that trade by taking initiatives to make sure that we can export something to the Black Americans, we need to market ourselves to the Black Americans. This is very important if you can contextualize and see that currently, if you were to look at the remittances from Kenyans in the diaspora, it's a sizable cash inflow. So you can imagine if you were to now promote something, whatever services or products, targeting the Black Americans. If you look at even the tourism that Kenya has been marketing over the years, we are only marketing to the whites.
Now,
today, even when we launched recently the direct flights from Kenya to the US, if you look at the adverts and the commercials that are being aired in America, targeting the people there, they're just having white people. How do you use a white person to market an African product?
Now, the problem is this now. How are you going to ensure inclusivity of everyone? Are we just going to segregate the blacks from the whites, or are you going to include all of them?
It is not racism. It's not racism. We are saying you have a homogeneous group that we have neglected. In fact, if you were to play the racism card, then you can also say that maybe we have actually segregating against the blacks. Because we seem not to actually target anything to them. Yet these are our brothers. As Tony will explain to you, our initiative is to have President Uhuru Kenyatta to be the first African president who can be able to actually and invite our children who are actually across the Atlantic to come to Africa.
Now, I'm actually reading a letter that you had sent to the President Barack Obama. And just a part of it, it says that in history and it is in history and legacy of Thomas Joseph Mboya who brings to us to Kenya. It is the spirit of Mboya that makes Kenya the returning point of the African family from America. And you put that in bold, that the returning point of the African family from America. While Kenya loves and recognizes you, Mr. President, as a son of Kenya and Africa, we African Americans, stroke Americans, are no less African and family to Kenya and Africans than President Barack Obama Jr. How do you ensure that you make everyone feel as though they also have a sense of belonging in safari initiatives if we talk about blacks?
Well, let me tell you, because the visionary leader of Tom Mboya, the greatest and most influential leader in Africa's history to influence America, number one, we not only coming to Kenya to ask Kenya to recognize African Americans, we black Americans love John F. Kennedy. In 1960, Tom Mboya went to American President John F. Kennedy, and he was a Democratic nominee, and he asked John F. Kennedy, would you please help out? And the Kennedy family not only paid for airfare, they took care of the Kenyan students. But yet, when I walk around Kenya, I don't see a John F. Kennedy street. I don't see John F. Kennedy being honored. Yet, John F. Kennedy is one of the greatest presidents in American history.
Okay.
And what you don't know is that because of Tom Mboya and John F. Kennedy supporting Tom Mboya, is the black vote that got Kennedy elected. Tom Mboya influenced 2 American presidents.
Now, what is your incitement? What triggers you with regards to Tom Mboya?
When I came to Kenya in 1990, you see, a spirit has to have a conduit, somebody that recognizes. So Tom Mboya touched my soul. So I come to Kenya to ask Kenyans to recognize their founding father, one of their founding fathers. I speak for Tom Mboya. You see, if you go on the internet, there's a song that I wrote. It's called Tom Mboya, the Man Without a Song. You see,
but even as a statue within the CBD in town, there's a statue of Tom Mboya.
Which is
no,
tearing
well,
down.
that is no vision.
Which is what?
That is
tearing down.
That is no vision. Now, understand the Safari Initiative vision. What we want to do, I want to ask the people of Kenya to donate land. And we want to build the Tom Mboya, Dr. Martin Luther King Education and Cultural Center. We want Kenyans don't have no small dreams, have big dreams. Dr. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. What we want to do is build the largest and the best university in the history of Africa that tells African history, tells African culture. We want to bring a cultural center. Kenya must be the returning point where all African Americans come and learn their history, their culture. Imagine, we're not asking Kenya to do it. All we want to do, give the land. We're going to get Americans to spend the money, and we're going to spend billions of dollars and build the best university and culture center that everybody will come here to this great university and culture center.
How is this going to benefit the lowest man? From the ground, the common man, the common Kenyan.
Because we have trade, again, there's an acronym for trade. It means transforming, repositioning African descendants' economics. Now, what you have to do is that you come to Africa and you have no product to sell. You don't know what to sell, you have no infrastructure. We're here to tell you that
Africans import from other countries.
Well, listen, what we want to do, we want to come to Kenya and we want to build furnishings. See, in other words, you go to a house and What you got? You got early American, Italian, French, Oriental. You don't even have African furniture. You got people here named the Accombas. The Accombas are some of the greatest carvers in the world. They got generations of carving. We can carve the best furniture, and we can import this furniture to America.
Okay.
We can bring business people. You understand? And see, money comes from entertainment. The people who are billionaires in America through entertainment, understanding. There's a book out, Tom and Warrior, the man Kenya wanted to forget.
That you wrote?
No, I didn't write it. Another man wrote the book. They said, Tom and Warrior, the man Kenya wanted to forget. Wow. I'm here to speak on behalf of Tom and Warrior. Imagine the Black Panther movie made $1 billion. Now, what if Kenya decides to get behind our idea to do the Tom and Warrior movie? How many jobs is going to create? That's the biggest commercial you could ever have. Now, Tom and Warrior engaged in blacks and whites. Tom and Warrior brought everybody together. This is the greatest leader. If there was not for an Warrior, there would never be an Obama.
Are you seeing? Oh, okay. Yeah. If there was no Tom Mboya, there would never been an Obama.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
That is the great leader. See, Tom, your greatest hero. Listen, do you know what happened? Do you know that Americans? No, it was not a Kenyan that wrote your Constitution. It was Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, an American civil rights lawyer who won more cases in American Supreme Court than any lawyer. He wrote Kenya's Constitution and Bill of Rights. We're Americans.
The question is now, are people accepting or embracing this idea that you have?
Well, they don't. Look, people perish for lack of vision. Kenya must have a vision. So we must bring a vision. See, you have to have a vision. You got to be visionary. Now, what happened was Tom and Warrior was a visionary. If it was not for Tom and Warrior, Kenya would not have the first woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize. You would not have had a Barack Obama. This visionary leader was the greatest leader to influence America, and you don't even recognize your leader. I have to come from America to ask you to recognize the greatest leader in America to influence America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. That is Anthony Elmore, AMP.
That's right.
From Memphis, USA.
Man, listen, you know what? See, trade. Look, can you imagine? See, do you know that African American buying power is 1.2 trillion. We African Americans spend, the Kenya's GDP is 60 billion. We Black Americans spend 50 billion a year on travel. Do you know we travel in groups? Do you know there are cruises? There are 50 American cruises that black people take. Now, the bottom line, we black. See, we have our own culture. See, we're a culture within a culture. So when we go out, we want to hear our music.
Okay.
See, we got some things in common with Kenyans and black folk. See, one thing we got in common, look, when it comes to music, hey, we get together on music, right? When it comes to food, we get together on food. When it comes to dancing, we get together on dancing. Now, see, what we want to do, if you want to build some wealth in Kenya, Kenya got all these young people, got all these pretty women, and you got men. All we got to do is, look, we want to get all the pretty women and say, y'all want to marry American man? And we're going to have a website, Marry American Man, Marry American Woman.
And you married an African girl?
I married a Kenyan. See, look, I had a wife.
I'll come there. I'll come there. Now, Safari initiatives here. How many activities do we have within Safari initiatives? Let me come to you.
You know, there's so many activities. You know, if we are given that space and let this unfold, it's going to open so many opportunities. You know, he was talking about, you know, trade. We have our young people, you know, they don't have any employment. So that is going to be one avenue where, you know, they can make money. You know, we can export furniture. You know, in America, we don't have any African stores. So
wow.
What if?
Are you sure?
We don't. So
To sell certain products.
To sell
not everything,
African
certain
products.
yeah.
They sell African products.
What he's trying to say, like if you go to his house, if you go to Tony's house, you will be ashamed yourself, because right from the gate, going inside, every little piece of furniture is African made. This man had to go to Ghana and had all his furniture handmade, and he brought it to his house. Now, you don't get that kind of store anywhere.
They
in
actually
United
go
States.
to China
Yeah.
to come and bring things from China. Even to tiles, you get it from China. But
Everything
the
made in
Americans
China,
are
made in
looking
China,
for
made in
China.
how can we get products that can come from Africa so that we promote African economy.
Handmade stuff that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, because
Okay?
everywhere you
We
go,
don't
you
see
know,
this stuff anywhere else.
all these things are there. But how are we going to help these people, make money out of what they're doing?
See, understand. Safari, Style African Fashion Application Renaissance Initiative. So what we want to do, we want to come to Kenya, and we want to get the fashion designers, and so we're going to build the baddest designs that going to be so bad coming from Africa. We want to get down with the Converse, and we're going to build the baddest furniture. And you're going to get the stars, and you're going to get a star, and the billionaires and the millionaires, they're going to come buy this furniture up. See, you're selling art. Look, the furniture business to African Americans, we spend $500 billion a year on home furnishings. So you want your kitchen cabinets, you want your doors, you go into a church, make those church pews in Kenya, you want everything hand carved. We can put so many Kenyans to work that you don't even have enough carvers. See, we can give you jobs. All we have to do is get the president of Kenya to honor African Americans with a former state reception. Let's bring all the top Americans, millionaires and billionaires and all the entertainers, and we want to come right here to Kenya, and we're going to come and we're going to deal with the African question. We're going to help Africa.
The Contemporary Gladiator, that film, when you came to Kenya at that time of the year, in the early 90s,
Yeah.
Of course, you mentioned that you were into sports. Yes?
I'm the 5-time world karate kickboxing champion. So you look on the theaters and you see this movie called Rocky. Rocky was not even a real hero. I'm a real 5-time world kickboxing champion. So
Rocky was not.
You're right. But I told my story because in my story, I was a young man who was proud of his African heritage. And my dad said, you don't know anybody in Africa. Why are you so connected to Africa, even as a child? See, when I grew up, Jomo Kenyatta was a hero to me. You see, we have African heroes. We get out come to Africa, and they don't even invite us to come. But
now, as Africans, this is the final question, because I'm aware time is not on our side. I've been told that we should wind up. Are we the ones who are letting ourselves down when we cry about the economy? We don't have jobs, we don't have employment, we don't have money. Are we the ones who are actually letting ourselves down as Africans?
let's look inside ourselves and find greatness. And we're here to remind you that you got the greatest leader, Tom and Boyer. We got a template. Let's follow them Boyer template, and we have a vision, we have a tradition, we have a culture. All we got to do is follow Tom and Boyer initiative,
Wow.
and Kenya will be the great country it needs to be.
Wow. Anthony, I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you very much, gentlemen. It's
Thank
been
you.
an honor having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Safari Initiative. Very vibrant here. All
And
of,
we have.
You have a word? Okay. Maybe you can just bring it here. Okay. Okay, we introduced the Safari Initiative, a way to bring dollars and wealth to not only Kenya, but to all of Africa.
Yes.
Wow, I love that. I love that. if Kenya wants black dollars, blacks only travel in large groups to cultural events. I love how this is, and of course you can be able to reach these guys, of course, using our social media handles at KBC Television and at Ram Aguko. This is what they brought on set, and of course we would like to wind up the show right here on Good Morning Kenya. Of course, this is the hashtag Good Morning Kenya at KBC Television and at Ram Aguko. That is a Safari Initiative. Thank you for coming. We have a little bit of more interviews coming up. Do not go too far. Good Morning Kenya takes a short break.